Hello YouTube. Okay, I bought a snowplow for my Coleman 400 UTV, and everything comes in one single box. Walk you through some of the parts here. It comes with a instructions sheet, and it's kind of a universal. They give you all kind of different mounting options. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to do. We're going to try to figure this out the best we can. I'm going to make a few modifications to it. I can see a few improvements. The first thing is they give you this bolt for the swivel on the plow. And if you see the size of that hole and the bolt, there's a lot of play. So what I did is I just homemade a copper bushing out of some pipe, and I'll put this together. This is for the plow swivel. So this will, because here's the way it would be right now. There's all kind of wobble. So when you put the, when you drive that bushing down in, now it's solid. There's no movement on it. So that's one little thing I'm going to do to it. I don't know why they didn't do a bushing, but they did do a bushing where the actual plow mounts, the shoe mounts onto the plow here. So it comes with, we'll get you off the stand here. It comes with tons of parts and all this stuff. So you got to sort of figure things out here. All kind of configurations with these mounting blocks. And this is basically what holds the plow on. 2 pins go into that right there. They don't tell you how far back to go with it, so we're going to figure all this out. That's why I'm making this video. So if you have a Coleman 400 UTV you bought from Tractor Supply, and Coleman, you dropped the ball. Why you would produce a product and not sell something to fit it, you guys dropped the ball. Okay, something else that I do on my plows is this is just a metal cutting edge. I add this belt. This is basically heavy duty conveyor belt. I drill holes in it and I make it wide enough so you can flip it. So when this wears out, you can flip it over. I have a brand new blacktop driveway, and you can see that this will act just like a squeegee. And then you can adjust these shoes to whatever height you want them to be to allow this to literally ride on that rubber. And you'll get years of use out of that before it wears out. Then you can just flip them. Like I said, it's made by Denali. I think everything's made in China, which is really a shame that we can't make a snowplow for a utility vehicle. But anyhow, got some nice markers on the side here. It's 6 foot, and I think the Coleman will be able to handle it very well. Here's a piece of that belt. You can find this old conveyor belt around. But anyhow, I'm not going to get into great detail how to do this. Getting all this put together, it basically has this sets the angle, this locks it. There's some springs, some bolts, some different things, and then this will bolt onto the actual plow. So and it has some really heavy-duty kickback springs. Yeah, these are really heavy-duty, so I think it will have a lot of power there. So our next step, let's go downstairs to the actual UTV, and let's figure out how we're going to mount this plate. That's going to be a little challenge to get that thing mounted rigid and make it so that it don't wiggle around, and that's what you don't want. So let's get downstairs and get started. Alrighty. Well, I've been playing around with this thing for the better part of an hour, and what you want to do is you want to make sure that this thing is in the right position as far as the cable will hook up. There's a loop here. I actually bought a kit. We'll replace this here later on in the video. But right now I'm just checking for alignment. And also you want to make sure that when you turn this plow, let me just hit this button here. When you turn it on an angle, you want to make sure that plow is going to clear that tire. And there it is right there. That will clear perfectly. So we're we're pretty much in the right position. Let's go underneath the vehicle. And here's the part where everybody don't know where to mount this. So I don't know how good this video is going to show up, but let's go underneath it here. And I'm going to show you what goes on underneath here. Okay, first of all, the U-bolts are too big. They're too long. So what I did is I made up just some wooden blocks just to get this thing mocked up. And the position is really good where it's at. And on this other side here, you can see that they give you this other little block, which is right here. So you want to carry it back here and up there, because you're going to be pushing on this pretty hard when you're pushing snow. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this back down. I also made up these little shoes, and they're going to go right up on the frame rail, and I'm going to weld them to the top of that bracket so that the U-bolt's only going to hold it tight. This here will take all the side-to-side thrust. So, and I'll give you reference here. If you own a Coleman and you're looking to put a plow on it, basically you can see where the pin goes in. It's just right at the back side of your wheel well there, and you have to drop off both of your or two of your skid plates, and there they are laying back there. We're going to have to modify the skid plates, of course, because this bracket will stay on there full time. So in the winter time, if you want to take the plow off, you pull two pins and unhook a cable, and it's a very nice setup. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that plate off, and we're going to go ahead and just mock things back up on the welding table. We're going to do a little bit of welding on there. I know that they don't recommend modifying, but I want to modify it so that everything goes up there and it has a little bit better hold than just a couple U-bolts. I don't trust a U-bolt for when you're pushing into a big pile of snow. You could start bending stuff. So I'll see you then. Okay, it is Miller time, because I'm using a Miller welder. All right, I just got these little plates mocked up on here, clamped down, and everything's nice and straight. I'm just going to tack weld it. A little bit of galvanized, but it should be okay. So, making sure nothing moved, we'll tack the back side of it. Looks good. All right, it's nice and tight on there now. So we'll go ahead and remove the clamp just to show you what I accomplished here. And this is my improvement on this. It's basically, I'd seen another video a guy had done, and he literally put this piece of box tubing to make up the distance for the clamp. It padded it down too low. I didn't think that was such a good idea. He didn't even use none of this, which you're trying to transfer all this load back to your frame. You don't want one cross member carrying that all that thrust when a snowplow, you know. So basically, this is going to be the frame rail that's up under the UTV. When this comes up to it, it sits in this saddle. Now, this will absorb all the thrust. The U-bolts basically are going to hold it tight to the frame. This will take a lot of the push. So you're not, I mean, look at the slop here. You don't want that. You just want to hold it tight. And then once this is down nice and tight, it can't move. So we'll get this welded up. We're going to throw some primer on it. And next time you'll see me, we'll be back underneath here bolting this thing in permanent. And I think I'm just going to do nothing more than make a bigger wooden block to catch all four holes. I'm going to do the same thing, so that way all I got to do is these wooden blocks basically take up that area where it's not threaded. If I can find U-bolts that are the right size, I'll buy them, but I don't see nothing wrong with this. You know, we're sawmillers, and let's make use of our lumber. I think it'll work fine, so we'll talk to you here in a few minutes. All right, I'm going to try to do this. So this is like a well-coordinated juggling act here. And I could have had this blocked up a little bit higher. Would have been a bigger help, but that's not how we roll here. Okay, so we're going to try to get them U-bolts down through like that and come back and catch this one. And my shoulders are just messing me up here. And then we want to come up and get these guys to fall down through. Well, we lost that one, but you can see how fun this is going to be. So I think what I'm going to do, we're going to think this out a little bit. So let me grab a nut here, and we're going to just thread one on. Take this back off in a minute. That helps. Now, I think we're going to do the same thing over there, everybody. We'll figure it out. We always do. And again, if you think this is a 5-minute install, you're going to be highly disappointed. So we're just going to put another nut on here. If you like laying on your back, and this is the job for you. So, here we go. Let me give this a try. That one dropped down through nicely. That one dropped down through nicely. So, let's just... Again, I should have been up another couple more inches. Would have been nice on this. I'm just going to put a nut on here just to hold it for a second until I can get a prop made up. All right. Now we got half of the battle won here. So I'm going to go ahead and work one of these sides up and get a block in here. Just got to do this in stages. I'm going to be all right. And you got to watch where these U-bolts go through. You don't want to pinch cables. There's cooling lines, there's wiring harnesses, there's everything going through here. So got to be careful. So we're going to go ahead and wrestle this for a little bit more, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to get you back on camera once I get it pulled up tight and we have success. I'll see you in a couple minutes. All right, it's been about 45 minutes and I got everything on, and here's something I didn't show you yet. They sell an additional pulley that you get rid of this, and then you put a pulley on, and then they give you another pulley that basically gives you a mechanical advantage, so you're only pulling half the weight, and that'll work out very well. And then we'll take a look at the finished product, and also the skid plates. You're going to have to retrofit them, but all in all, sorry about the microphone here, everybody. I'll move this out of the way. It all turned out really well. I'll give you a better shot of it. And again, we'll have to cut the skid plates to fit around there. And just be careful you're not pinching any wiring harnesses. But yeah, I used every piece that came with it. I did a little bit of extra fabrication on it. And that little tab up in there, I don't think you're going to be able to see that, but that really took a lot of the thrust off the front of this thing. So, with that being said, next step, we're going to go up and put the actual blade on it and see what it looks like when it's done here. So, we'll see you then. All right, we are done. And I didn't want to bother you with just putting a blade on here. This stuff here is the simple part. Putting this plow on this machine really was easy. The hard part was that all that stuff for the mount. But I did go for that extra thing on the winch. It don't give you much height as far as when you're lifting the plow. I don't know if I can modify anything to get a little bit more lift on it, but it's still enough. And again, there's that rubber blade that I put on the cutting edge, and that'll save my blacktop. And it's really a nice looking unit. I'd like to thank the people at the ATV Superstore. That's who I bought them through, and I actually dealt with the guy, his name I think was Thor, and it shipped here really quickly. And we're going to find out how this thing's going to work here when we get some snow, which I don't want any snow, but I'm sure we're going to get some to try it out. So I hope everybody found this video useful. If you do have a Coleman 400 and you're looking for a snowplow, I think this would be a good option for you. So again, if you got some skills to weld and fabricate, I would make a couple modifications, and it just made it go on a lot easier. So then the blocks of wood, I used black locust to pad it up so that'll never rot and go away, and it made them U-bolts actually usable. So well, again, I hope you enjoyed this, hope you found this useful, and I will see you on the next one when we're sawing logs with the Eddie Horvath and ZZ Mark. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.